remember to mute your microphones when you are not speaking. We will soon hear what today's theme is from our Toastmaster, who is Graham Cairns. Hopefully he is here. Please welcome our Toastmaster of today's meeting, Graham Cairns.
Oh,
thank you.
Let's introduce the president. Yes, I think I'll take that over. Thank you, Mr. Brown, or DTM Brown. This is an amazing day. I am so excited for our meeting today because we have two things that are going on that are unique and different. And for those of you that are guests, you signed up for a real treat. First, we have our Vice President of Membership who is going to install or induct a number of our members. So please, let's give it up for our Vice President of Membership, Elaine Nieberding.
Good evening, my fellow Toastmasters, online presenters, honored guests, and replay viewers. You know I always say that because I want lots of people to keep watching. This evening, it's now our duty and privilege to induct new members into online presenters, Toastmasters. I'm going to name the people, and I'm not sure all of them are here, but I think 5 are here. So today we're inducting Liseng Zhu, Nikenji Warren Swan, Patricia O'Reilly, Rick Derling, Roxanne Hossain, and also if Justin Sosaby and Marianne Grady are here, please unmute and let me know if you are here.
Yes, I'm here. Liseng Zhu.
Liseng, yes, I am aware you're here. That's great. I'd like all of my new members to please unmute. This is an important occasion, both for these individuals and our club. As experienced speakers and Toastmasters, these individuals will enrich us as we strive to enrich them. In a spirit of sharing and enjoyment, together we're going to expand our effectiveness as dynamic leaders, presenters, and communicators. So inductees, please raise your right hand to begin this Toastmaster pledge and repeat after me each time I gesture to you. And at the end, you'll affirm your pledge by saying, I will. So inductees, say like this: I, Elaine, say your name.
I, Roxanne. I, Liseng Zhu.
In the presence of fellow online presenters, repeat. In the presence
of fellow online
presenters, I do pledge.
I do pledge.
And I'm going to recite all the things. You just listen. I do pledge to attend meetings regularly and prepare for each assignment. I pledge to apply myself to the projects outlined in the Toastmasters education program, to participate actively in club activities, to evaluate others in a positive and constructive manner, to build open, friendly relationships with my fellow members, and to bring other new members into the club so they can gain the benefits of Toastmasters. So new members of Online Presenters Toastmasters, affirm these promises now by saying, I will.
I will.
So let's give a nice round of applause. Unmute everyone. Let's cheer them and clap and say welcome.
Welcome.
One of us.
Yahoo.
Thank you.
Wow, doesn't she do a great job? Let's just give it up for Elaine, okay? We're just going to give one more clap because she has been amazing. Welcome to all of our new members. We are so happy to have you here. And like I said, today is very, very special. So we are going to actually bring up our nominating chair because this is also election time. And as much as I have loved being president, they're not going to let me do it a second year in a row. So I do have to give it up. And Roger has been working diligently behind the scenes to up with a phenomenal slate. So Roger, would you please take the stage?
Thank you very much, Madam President. As we begin our election for our 2020-2021 year. Madam Secretary, do we have a quorum this evening?
We do have a quorum present.
Thank you very much, Madam Secretary. We do have a quorum present. We will continue to conduct our election. First, I would like to present to you the nominated candidate, and I will ask each and every one of them to confirm if they will accept the role if being elected. And then I will open up the floor for any nomination. So now I am go ahead and share my screen very quickly. Here is the slate of candidate that we have. President Nick Lahani, Vice President Education Christian Ramchung, VP Membership Lou Brown, VP Public Relations Elaine Nieberding, Secretary Emily Thompson, Treasurer David Carr, Sergeant Arm Asil Bonzonova. Allow me to quickly give a summary for each role, and I will call upon all of the candidates to go ahead and unmute themselves right now. And I'll go through each role one by one. The president is the chief executive officer of this club and is responsible for fulfilling the mission of this club. If you are elected, Mr. Nick, will you accept this position?
Humbly accept.
Thank you very much. For the record, please be a little bit louder so we have it recorded in here. For Vice President of Education is the second ranking club officer and is responsible for planning, organizing, and directing a club program which meets the educational needs of the individual members. Candidate Christian, will you accept this position if elected?
I do, sir.
Thank you very much. Vice President of Membership is the third ranking club officer and is responsible for planning, organizing, and directing a program that ensures individual member retention and growth in the individual membership. Mr. Lou Brown, will you accept this position if elected?
Thank you for the nomination. I do accept.
Thank you very much. Vice President of Public Relations is the fourth ranking club officer and is responsible for developing and directing a publicity program that informs individual members and the general public about Toastmasters International. Madam Elaine Nieberding, will you accept the position if elected?
Indeed, I will. Thank you for the nomination.
Thank you. Secretary is responsible for club records and correspondence. The club secretary has custody of the club's charter, constitution, an addendum, and all other records and documents of this club. Madam Emily Thompson, will you accept the position if elected?
Yes, I will. Thank you for the nomination.
Thank you. The club treasurer is responsible for club financial policies, procedures, and controls. Mr. David Carr, will you accept this position if elected?
You bet.
Thank you. Sergeant at Arms is responsible for club property management, meeting room preparation, and hospitality. Madam Asil Bonzonova, will you accept this position if elected?
Yes, I will. Thank you for the nomination.
Thank you very much. At this time, I want to open up for any floor nomination. If you do, go ahead and unmute yourself. You can nominate yourself or another member who is in good standing. I will ask a second time if you would like to nominate anyone to any of the 7 offices. You can raise your hand, unmute yourself, or put it into the chat box for any floor nomination.
Roger, I just have a question, and I should have thought of this before somebody was just chatting with me about this. This is David's 3rd term as treasurer. Are there term limits on our treasurer position?
No, there is. The only office that has any limitation is a 12-month consecutive term for the president. All other position has no term limit.
Okay, thank you.
Our last call for floor nomination. Hearing none, I'm going to make a motion to close our nomination. And I need a second. Would you please raise your hand? Thank you, Mr. Andy Byrne. Madam Secretary, let the record show that Roger have made a motion to close the nomination process, and it's been seconded by Andy Byrne.
Move for voting by everybody consent, a consent vote for everybody that's been nominated on the slate.
We will first vote on the motion first, since we have a motion to open. And you should see a poll in front of you. If you are not a member of our club, please do refrain from voting. Go ahead and pick your vote and press submit. This is to close the nomination. This is the motion to close the nomination. 10 more seconds.
Roger, what number do you need for a quorum? Or
The
for majority?
The majority as of today, I will report on it after this.
Well, because the people that are co-hosts can't vote. So do you need us to vote?
Not at this point.
Thank you.
Five, 4, 3, 2, and 1. The yes vote has it. The nomination has been closed. Madam President, as of this morning, the official vote active member roll was 51. Thus, it requires 26 active member to make quorum. Right before we begin the election, we had 31 present. Therefore, quorum has been met. Now, with the quorum being met, excuse me, and since none of the office is contested, we shall move into our election of all of the officer at once. And all active member, please go ahead and cast your vote for our 2021 officers. Ten more seconds. The election has closed, and I return the control back to our president. I shall confer with my secretary and return with an official result. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Roger. It is very much appreciated. Congratulations to the 2021 Executive Board. I think you will be fabulous. I love each and every one of you, and I'm not going anywhere. So as the past president, I will be excited to help you however I can. In the meantime, let's give them a big round of applause. It is 8 o'clock. All of our admin stuff took a whole 50 minutes, which means we are turning this meeting over to our phenomenal, how many clubs, Grant? 8, 9, 10, 15?
No, not quite, but yeah, getting up there.
8, right?
8.
Yes, let's turn it over to our 8-time member. I don't even know how you word that saying, Graham Carnes.
Thank you, Madam President, ladies and gentlemen, and may I add my congratulations to the Executive Committee of the club for the following year. Having been a charter member of this club and a officer at one stage, I'd like to say that I believe that we are in really good hands for the year going forward. So well done, everybody. Okay, my name is Graham Cairns. I am your Toastmaster for today. And let me tell you how today is going to run. Christian has put a copy of the agenda into the chat. It's been modified slightly because at this stage, we only have one speaker. Now, I was going to ask if anybody had a pocket speech that they were prepared to deliver, but given that we are now running about 10 minutes behind because of the very important things that had to happen, I think we'll just go with the one speaker. So I am sorry, Asil, you're not required for an evaluation, and Lois, neither are you, but I think that both of you can reasonably expect to get a table topic. Jim, you're still down to evaluate our second speaker, who is in fact now our first speaker. Are you right to do that?
I am
Jim
indeed.
Barber?
I am
Good.
right.
Just wanted to check that. Good, 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 good. And I know that Hetsy's right to speak because we have, in fact, chatted via email before this meeting. So let's go through the things that have to be done. I cannot do this job on my own, which is probably just as well because you don't want me talking for an hour. Instead, there are a number of helpers that I have who do various jobs. For example, we have a timekeeper who is going to keep us on track. David, can you tell us how you're going to do that?
Well, if you can keep track of my old timing thumbnail image, you will see it turn green, yellow, and red at the appropriate times.
Thank you,
Enough?
David. And I will announce the times and what the lighting indications will be before each roll. Thank you for that, David. It's a thankless task, but I thank you anyway. Now, Richard Derling. Rick, you're our R counter. We haven't seen you for a while, and you're not going to pick on me. I tell you this now. So, no, seriously, Rick, what is the role of the R counter?
Well, I've got you down for one already, Graham. Anyways,
not surprised.
My job will be to count the interjections, the sounds such as etc., repeat words, clutch words, double clutching, that sort of thing, and I'll report when you call on me.
I shall do that later then, unless I do too many R's, in which case I'll say, no, we're not going to hear from you. No, our grammarian today is Carol Prensky. Carol, can you tell us what your role as grammarian is? And I think you've chosen a word.
I have, and thank you, Graham, Mr. Toastmaster. Today's word of the day is jerry-rig, and we are going with the ship theme because that'll come out later, I think. Right, Mr. Toastmaster?
Indeed.
All right. And so jerry-rig, it means to rig makeshift equipment or to make a quick fix using available materials. Now, my job as grammarian is to pay attention to our usage of the English language, making sure that we make sense and that we're not overusing vague terms and that we have some creative, beautiful phrases. So I'll be looking for examples of good things and things that we could tweak to get it better. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Back to you.
Thank you, Carol. Many clubs have a role which they are calling video monitor or something along those lines, but we call it the watcher, and the watcher today is going to be John Quick. John, what will you be watching for?
Mr. Toastmaster, I'll be watching for excellent use of video and highlighting some of the techniques that we see our speakers use today. Then in secret, I'll be typing messages to anyone who maybe can improve their video and let them do it straight away. Mr. Toastmaster.
What an excellent idea. Thank you for that, letting us know what we can do without shaming us. What's the phrase? Praise in public and chastise in private? Well, don't chastise us, but give us some advice. One way that you can give people advice is via the chat monitor. And one way that you can send messages to me or to anybody else is via the chat. But I can't keep watching the chat. Nobody can keep watching the chat apart from the chat monitor who will be doing that. Christian, tell us what your role is this evening.
Thank you, Toastmaster Graham. So my role, like what Toastmaster just mentioned, is to pay attention to the chat and support you and the Toastmaster of the session to the best of my ability. And so far, The couple of interesting things that I've seen are Monica Tucker being hard at work in the background, thanks to Roger, and borrowing his son's clippers to keep his head in Haley Holden. And a lot of congratulations to the incoming team. That's all, and I'll keep a lookout for your forthcoming chats. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Christian. Thank you for keeping an eye on the chat for us, and I'll call for a report a little later. Finally, amongst the helpers, we have the vote counter. Now, Trish, can you tell us what your role will be tonight and how we should fulfill our part thereof?
Hi, good evening. Yes, I can. We have 3 speakers scheduled
Only
tonight.
one now.
One now. Excuse me. I was kind of booted off of Zoom on my laptop, so I missed that. I apologize. So 1 speaker, and that means 1 evaluator. Normally 3 speakers, 3 evaluators, and table topics. So maybe we'll have more table topics. And my role as vote counter, in the chat box, I will be putting information on who to vote for what category. So then you just vote after the speaker, after the evaluator, and after the table topics, and then I give the results in the chat box.
Thank you. Thank you, Trish, for that. Thank you, everybody, for agreeing to do these various roles. Now, as mentioned, we have only 1 speaker tonight, but I am really, really pleased to see that speaker tonight, because Hetzi is going to be presenting an icebreaker. Now, I think that icebreakers are probably the highlight of my Toastmasters experience. I love to see when a speaker does an icebreaker, because we get to learn about the member. And tonight, Hetzi's icebreaker is entitled Calvin Klein and I. In this icebreaker speech, Hetzi will share how her relationship with Calvin Klein fragrances relates to her life in general. The evaluator will be Jim Barber, and Mr. Timekeeper, the timing for this speech is 4 to 6 minutes. So if we can have indications, a green light at 4, an amber or yellow at 5, and a red light at 6. Ladies and gentlemen, please make most welcome with her icebreaker, Calvin Klein and I, Hetzi Veach.
She is always and never the same. This tagline for the fragrance called Contradiction of Calvin Klein has been a favorite of mine. I love Calvin Klein fragrances. But ever since I heard that ad, it stuck with me. She is never and always the same. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and guests, I want to use this principle of contradiction to introduce myself to you today. Because trust me, my life has been full of contradictions. I am a lifelong learner. I am currently a PhD candidate at Syracuse University, and my degree is in the Cultural Foundations of Education in the School of Education. My specialty field, or the work that I do, is in disability studies, specifically disability studies in higher education. But I also have a bachelor's degree in physical therapy. I have a bachelor's degree in accounting. And I have an MBA. I'm not saying that to brag, don't get me wrong. I'm just trying to point out the contradictions because, you know, physical therapy, accounting, But I know how that fits together and how it brought me to where I am today, doing my PhD in the USA. Another contradiction in my life is my taste in music. If anybody would ever go into my iTunes library, they would find what my sister's kids would call heavy classical music, beautiful choral music, because I'm a choral singer myself and I love to make music. And then the next song, if you go like on this random selection where, you know, it can like play whatever the next song is, it could be hard rock, like rocking it out, where like head banging music. And then the next song would be Norah Jones singing very peacefully. And that is the collections that I have in my iTunes library. Also quite contradictory at times. The biggest contradiction of my life, though, I would think, and I would say, is that I am South African. I am a very proud citizen of South Africa. My family has been in South Africa for many, many generations. And in certain company, I would even go as far as calling myself an African. At home, that is something that people understand when you say that. In the US, I found not so much. Yes, it is a contradiction because people expect Africans to be of African descent and to have a darker skin complexion. The truth of it is, as you all probably know, that my ancestors were colonizers. And that is why I am on the continent. But I love the continent with all my heart, and I would have traded for Europe at any time. Part of that, though, means that I have to do a lot of work to know my privilege and to know what my role is in a society that's been horrifically divided for many years. But that is part of the work that I do, and it actually ties back with my education as well. There's some whole other speeches in there all the way. But the contradictions of my life make me who I am. Whether it's all the different areas that I've studied and probably will still keep on studying in the future, whether it's whatever is in my ears as I am walking to campus or doing work, and whether it's my identity to the core of who I am and where I'm from. We all are multiple people of multiplicity. We all have many aspects to our personalities and to our lives. Contradiction? Yeah. I do think that keeps life exciting. It makes for great conversation starters. All of them. But it also makes me who I am. Mr. Toastmaster, back to you.
Well done. Thank you, Hetzi. Thank you. And a fabulous tale of contradictions that we all face. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the things that I like to do in one of my Toastmasters clubs is when somebody gives an icebreaker, we all stand and applaud. Now, obviously, that's not going to work in an environment like this, but instead, can I ask if you can please place yourself in gallery view? That is the little box where we can all see each other. And let's give Hetzi a Mexican wave for doing that fabulous job. Yay! Well done, Hetzi! Yeah, Mexican waves don't work all that well, but yeah, no, seriously, congratulations and great icebreaker. Thank you for that. And I note a time of 5:21 for your evaluator. I have to tell you that I am slack. I should have told you what the theme of the meeting is. And in fact, our grammarian made reference to it tangentially. The theme for the meeting, I said, was going to be Mayday, a call for help or a celebration of growth. It's one of those words that can be either a call for help or a celebration of growth. I suspect that our table topics master has taken that theme into his bearing when he was deciding on the topics he was going to ask. Of course, I don't know this because I can't tell the table topic master what to do, but I do know that Tiger is an accommodating soul. So ladies and gentlemen, to present our table topics session, and again, times of 1 to 2 minutes for our table topics. That's 1, 1.5, and 2, but he'll tell you all those details. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from the far-flung wilds of country Oregon, here's Tiger Mckenney.
Thank you very much, Graham. An accommodating soul. I don't think those two words have ever been used before to describe me, but I appreciate that. If you are on screen and you do not have a role, then you are telling me you are willing to table a question. So my first participant is going to be Roxanne. Roxanne, I challenge you like this.
Okay.
Using this photo and the word of the day, which is jerry-rig, you have 2 minutes to run with it. Have fun.
As I saw that photo, without a close-up, it almost looked like the head of a geranium. And I remembered the first time I heard the word geranium for a flower, and I wanted to collect some. I was looking for some geraniums to bring home because I had seen them, someone told me what they were, and I thought, wonderful. And I figured, okay, I can remember this, geraniums. And I thought, I got to the flower shop and I thought, I know what it was. I know what it was. It had something to do with taking things and putting things together and making something out of something when you don't have the right things to put it together. Jerry-rig, do you have a flower named jerry-rig? And we went on over this. I tried describing it. It's almost like a bulb looking, almost like, you know, that other flower that comes in like blue, and it was a mess. And as I continued, turns out it wasn't jerry-rig, as you know. It seems also that those flowers behind you are not geraniums, but the florist told me, you know, the next time what you might think of is Jerry, oh no, Jerry, his aunt and his mom. And I thought, no, I think you were thinking of Chris, his aunt and his mom. That'd be chrysanthemum. But that's where it ended up. In the end, I did get my geraniums. It took a lot to get there, but finally. Hybrids too. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Roxanne. Well, that was creative. My next participant is going to be our speech champion, none other than John. Can you unmute yourself, sir? Using the word of the day, jerry-rig, and this photo. Wax eloquently for 2 minutes.
Mr. Table Topics Master, thank you so much for that wonderful question. How do I tie together jerry-rig with a fishing picture? It's pretty obvious. We were on a boat sailing off the coast of Florida. I cast my line out there and I landed this huge fish. And I'm reeling it in and reeling it in, and my line snapped. Now what do I do? And I pulled all the line out and I threw away all that discard. And my favorite lure was out there, and I didn't have the lure that I wanted. So I grabbed a spoon and I bent it and I created a little fork out of the end of it. And I guess I did something called jerry-rigging, where I created this little lure and I put it back onto the end of my line and I cast it back out and I started reeling in, and eventually I caught a turtle. I'm like, who wants a turtle? What the heck's this turtle doing here? I threw the turtle back in because they really wouldn't want a turtle. And I cast my line back out again. And that's when I started reeling it back in. And that's when I got the swordfish on my line. And I'm thinking in my mind of how much I really, really love a good swordfish steak. And I'm already starting to salivate thinking about how I'm going to create this beautiful meal out of this swordfish. And I'm pulling it, and I broke the line again. Back to you, Mr. Table Topics Master.
Congratulations. And you can see why this man was the speech champion, obviously. Well, let me see. How about Mr. Jeffrey Hill, MBA? Can you unmute yourself?
Yes, sir.
And sticking with the theme, I'm going to give you this photo and use the word jerry-rig.
All right. Many of you don't know, I grew up in the country in Southern Arkansas. And I did a speech one time called Boys Will Be Boys. And the speech was a tribute to me growing up, how we used to climb trees, how we used to run in the woods. And one of the things we loved to do was build club houses. Now, we didn't always have the fancy material. We didn't always have power drills, but we did whatever we could. So there was a lot of jerry rigging. Sometimes we might take an old bicycle, nail it to a tree to make a basketball goal to play. Or sometimes we would get cardboard and use it to put up in our treehouse. Now, growing up in Southern Arkansas, guys, you have to understand, we get rain. Cardboard does not hold up very well in the rain. Needless to say, we would have to jerry rig some tin to create a canopy so the water can actually run down the sides and not get our cardboard wet. As boys, we got really creative with what we learned how to do and how we jerry rigged our way through nature, making clubhouses, forts. Now, I don't have enough time to tell you how one of our forts caught a large plot of acreage of woods on fire while we went into town to do some grocery shopping. It was my brother's fault, not mine. I will say that. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. This jerry rig, I like this word. It brings up great stories. Patricia O'Reilly. Being an O'Reilly, either are Irish or you married one, either way, you're stuck with this photo, the pot of gold, and you have to use the word jerry rig in there somewhere. Take it away.
Mr. Topics Master, a very apt photo for somebody who isn't just married to somebody who is or was Irish, as is now deceased, but also I'm Irish myself, as it just happens that way. But yes, there's the pot of gold. And of course, we all know, I grew up on all the stories about the leprechauns and the little people and the fairies and the special fairy mounds, which to this day in Ireland, farmers will not build or will they not sow crops around them because they are special. Yes, so leprechauns and the rainbow and the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Now, look, I have tried to find it several times. I have tried to find it. And I did concoct, or jury rig if you liked, lots of devices as to how we might find it. And we would set off as children and we would follow that rainbow. And we would bring with us some kind of a pole that we thought we would use to reach in and get the pot of gold when we got there. And yes, sometimes we did see the little leprechauns and we followed them. But unfortunately, we never managed to get that pot of gold. And I gather that somewhere, probably in Ireland, there is a pot of gold waiting for someone to come along and to, because let's face it, most people across the world have Irish ancestry in them somewhere. So it's just waiting for somebody with that bit of Irish ancestry to come along and to find the pot of gold, which has now turned into beautiful bouquet of flowers, apparently. But I think the pot of gold might be more worth more money, more valuable. Mr. Topics Master.
Thank you. And from one Scotch-Irish person to another, very well done. Thank you very much. Monica Tucker. Come on down.
I'm here.
All right. Monica, using the word of the day, once again, jerry rig, and that photo, which I'm assuming most women would love to have that sitting in their house right now. You have 2 minutes.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters, guest. For the flower bouquet that he's showing, we have Mother's Day coming up here. And I fully expect, even though my child is another state away, that he will either send me flowers or perhaps he will jerry-rig some other present that he will send me. I never know what I can expect from him. At one Mother's Day, I got a box of chocolates that had been opened and sampled, not completely eaten. He had just taken bites, and the ones he didn't like, he left them for me. So I thought that was such a sweet gift that year. And he's been known to jerry-rig some other things because he does work on vehicles. And I've had a couple of incidents where he's had to come and get me. And in order to make the vehicle work, he would jerry-rig something up. And like I told you in the chat a while ago, my husband's name's Jimmy, and he's world renowned for Jimmy rigging things. So we have different types of rigging in our family. And depending on the severity of it and what it's actually fixing, it could be Jimmy, or it could be Jerry, or it could be some other man in our family. You just never know. I will turn it back over to you, Mr. Table Topics Master.
Very, very well done. Excellent. And with the timer, Toastmaster, do I have time for another one?
You do indeed. You've probably got another time for another 3 or 4 if you wish to, because
excellent.
We only had the one speech and therefore not the second evaluation. Anyway, yeah.
I can do this all night. No problem. Bridget, how are you today?
I'm
Did
good.
I pronounce it
You're
Bridget?
good.
Oh,
Yep,
sorry.
there
I
we go.
apologize.
It's all good.
Well, I can see that you have some beautiful flowers behind you as well. I would like you to use this photo with the rainbow. And again, the word of the day, jerry-rig. Take it away.
I love rainbows, actually. It is such a good way to look positively into the future. I think that's really the sign, because it's really a combination of sunshine coming out after a rain. So that's one of the reasons I love rainbows. Now, my last rainbow sighting was last year. I was on the island of Oahu for a dance competition. And on the last morning, there are a lot of us that went out and actually wanted to take some pictures because we'd been indoors for the competition the whole time. And we saw a double rainbow, which was absolutely amazing. Only nature could jerry-rig something like that. So we were all taking photographs because it was just so incredible to see too. Now, my understanding is that that is fairly common for Hawaii, but it was the first time that I had ever seen something like that. And I just love the whole vibe of positivity that came out of that. And it was actually kind of interesting because as I was growing up and in the 80s, late 70s, all of the girls used to have rainbows on their notebooks, like sticker collections, etc. So that's just something that I no longer do, but in nature, I tend to look out for rainbows, and not just on Hawaii. I saw one here at home in Silicon Valley about a month ago. And thank goodness that iPhones now have cameras associated with them. I didn't have to say, oh, bummer, I didn't have my camera with me. I could just pull out my iPhone and jerry-rig a photo, even though it wasn't as professional level as the one in Hawaii. Mr. Table Topics Master.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now let's see here. Looking at this photo, I'm thinking Beatrice. Beatrice, did I get that correctly? Would you like to table this question?
That's correct. I can't see the words on it though. This is my happy place.
This is my
Thank
happy
you, Mr.
place.
Topics Master. I like that because I'm in my happy place right now. As you all know, with the social distancing and all the working from home business, everybody has had to make their happy place wherever they are. So right now I'm in my happy place, which is in my own control room from my
Beatrice, you're breaking up quite badly. You might want to turn your video off because that will give you more bandwidth and then we'd be able to hear you.
I can watch all. Is that better?
Tell you what, let's go ahead. I apologize,
No?
Beatrice, but you're breaking up. So we'll go ahead and ask someone else, if you don't mind. Thank you, though. What we heard was excellent, but then we lost you. Thank you so much. Technology is a wonderful thing when it works. Liang Li, is that correct? Liang, can you please address this photo of an ocean sunset and work in the word jerry rig if you can, please? Can you see it? It's a photograph of ocean sunset.
It's a lovely day. I was on the beach and watching the sunset. What a lovely sunset. But why there's no one sitting next to me to enjoy such a beautiful sunset with me? Therefore, I was thinking, where should I get someone to sitting next to me and enjoy the lovely sunshine? Then I come to online presenters to see so many guests here. And then I'm not going to pick up any one of you to be accompanied to see the lovely sunset here, because I know we are all in lockdown situation. But I hope sooner or later, we all have opportunities to go out to see the sunset with our loved one sitting next to us. Thank you very much. Back to you, Table Topic Master.
Thank you very much. Excellent. And one more. This is going to be our last one. I'm thinking that Andrea has a sense of humor. Would you like to unmute yourself? And being that this is the last one, I'm going to let you run with this photograph.
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master. Stop is a beautiful sign. Sometimes we need a reminder. Stop and think. As my daughter, she's 12 years old. She's going into teenage years. Oh, those girls, from little baby, grown up, shoots up into that, almost a lady. But hey, I had to tell her, stop. You need to respect that. Stop. You need to respect that. Stop. You need to go to school. And then I realized, why am I doing that? Why am I saying stop to someone who can barely hear me? Then I come up with a really witty idea. I went on TikTok. Has anyone heard of social network called TikTok? If you have, raise your hand up. Right, then I'm not alone. I'm 42, she's 12. And then she had to tell me, stop that, don't do TikTok anymore. And then I continued, I persevered. Then I jury-rigged about 10 videos. One of them was so successful that it got 500 views. My daughter was speechless. She just couldn't believe that her dad beat her in TikTok. Her video got only about 200 something views. Mine, 500 and over. And then something happened. I just stopped saying stop to her. I gained respect and I jury-rigged my reputation. So next time, think before you say stop to your teenage daughter. Mr. Table Topics Master.
Wow, what a fantastic way to end it. You guys were awesome. My pipe dream today is to be voted the best Table Topics Master of the day. Thank you very much. And I will return it to our Toastmaster.
Thank you, Tiger. I think you'll probably win the Best Table Topics Master of the Day, although I do have another 2 Toastmasters meetings coming up later today, so they could beat you, but I got to tell you, I don't think it's likely. So I noticed that the timekeeper has placed the timings into the chat. Roxanne, John, Jeffrey, Patricia, Monica, Birgit, Liang, and Andre. So from amongst those, can you please, because they all met the objective time, can you please send your vote for best table topic to our vote counter today? And our vote counter is Trisha. So, and she's listed as vote counter Trisha. If you can send the best table topic person, not including Tiger, because he doesn't get to win. I'm sorry, Tiger. If you can send that to Trisha, that will be the vote that Trisha will count. Well done. All right, and that pretty much concludes my role as Toastmaster for this evening. But that does not, of course, conclude the meeting, because now we get to the part where we learn. I mean, we learn just by watching, but we learn more by evaluating. The person who gets the evaluation gets evaluated, but so do the rest of us. We get to learn as well. And so I'm going to now hand control to our General Evaluator for this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome General Evaluator Antoinette Trim. And Antoinette, if you can hand control back to the President at the end of this session.
Thank you, Graham, for affording me the time to do the General Evaluator. The General Evaluator section, in fact, the evaluation section is a part of the meeting whereby we get to know our wow moments, what we can do better, and what we excel at. So I will call on no other than Jim Barber to evaluate his speaker. And all to you, Jim Barber.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. My fellow Toastmasters, our most welcome guest this evening, and especially Hetzi Veach. Hetzi, you were giving your icebreaker tonight in the Dynamic Leadership Level 1. I always enjoy icebreakers because there's 2 challenges here. You have a challenge. You are challenged to introduce yourself to us, to tell us about yourself, and also to give us an idea of what your speaking abilities are like, what your video presence is like, so that we can work with you to give you some improvement in that way. And my challenge is to do just that, to help you to do better in your presentation skills and in your video presence. You met your challenge admirably. I'm afraid that my challenge is much tougher, and we'll see how I did on that. But the thing is, you don't need a whole lot of help. This was a very polished, very powerful presentation. Your presentation itself was well prepared. You obviously put time into it. It was well structured. It was well written. It was well presented. We knew what you were doing every step of the way. Just very, very, very well done in preparation. You told us about yourself using the principle of contradictions. I liked that. You had a theme. You built your speech around that. That was great. You have very good vocal variety, your vocal pauses. You use pauses wonderfully. Your vocal power was great. You have good gestures. I love gestures. And yours were, I just knocked my speaker off the desk. Sorry about that. Your gestures were very animated, very effective. I liked the way you pointed. When you said but, you didn't just say but with your words. You pointed at the camera and you said but. Be careful on that. In video, if you get too close to the camera, it can be taken as aggressive. In the case of using but, it worked okay. That was very nice. I liked that. Let's see, video. Let's talk about video in general. You were well lit, you were well framed, you had terrific eye contact. I was all prepared to tell you you need to work on your eye contact. You don't. It was great. You were very, very good on that. In fact, I only have one suggestion, and that leads me to that. When you quite frequently looked at the camera, and that was very good. But when you looked up a little bit, when you raised your whole head so that you were looking a little bit over the camera, your light reflected off of your glasses so that we couldn't see your eyes. It only occurred when your head was positioned like that. As long as you were looking at camera level or below, didn't have that problem. So either you need to not look above the camera, which could be a little bit tricky, but possibly do that, or reposition the light a little bit so that you don't catch that reflection. But frankly, that's the only thing that I have to suggest. This was an effective icebreaker. I'm looking forward to your future presentations, and the grammarian is going to jump on me if I don't use the word of the day, and so jury-rigged. Madam Master Evaluator.
Thank you, Evaluator Jim Barber. He always gives thorough reports. And now I will call on the grammarian to give the reports.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. I have several things that I'd like to report today. First, I was so creative. Nicking his son's shaver was Christian's comment. And I thought, what beautiful alliteration. I want to emphasize that. And this is what allows us to say, this was fun word choice. Nicking his son's shaver. I liked it. Graham, Mexican wave. I didn't know Mexico had the ownership of all the waves, but that was pretty nice. Rick, work on etc. and that sort of thing. Let's say what we really want to say. Patricia, to the day, to this day. And so what I found you doing was repeating, trying to get the right word choice. Be okay, let it go, and just say it. You're gonna be fine. Monica, I love the Jimmy rig. Liang Li, then I come to online presenters. My suggestion would be, then I came, past tense, to online presenters. I also heard the word cause, you meant because. So just keep practicing that. Jim Barber, I'd like you to work on the word very. Find the right adjectives to emphasize your point. And the jerry-rig, Jim, does not count. You've got to use it properly in a sentence. So I'd like to congratulate those people that used it properly. Roxanne, Lou, John Callahan, Jeffrey Hill, Brigitte, Monica, Patricia, Liang, Andre, and if I missed you, I apologize, but wow, I was so impressed with the number of people that used it. Congratulations, and giving all thumbs up. Cheers to the rest of you. Woohoo!
Okay, now I'll bring on the watcher who has the tedious task of looking through all these squares. Watcher, please give your report.
Madam General Evaluator, as the watcher today, one of the things I saw the most was the situation where we're just barely in the frame. If we get this close, it's all right, I'm still in it. But then if you're a very animated person, or you get really interested in something, you're reading, someone puts up an interesting photo, sometimes we can just get a little bit cut off. So always just be aware of where you are in that frame so you can say just inside. The other thing, I want to commend Tiger today for his slideshow effect. I think we should all recognize that getting that to work smoothly the way he did takes at least some preparation and testing and practice. That's why his technology went so smoothly. So good job, Tiger. Madam General Evaluator.
Okay, thank you. I now have the chat monitor. I'm a person with few words, and so now I'll have the chat monitor to give the report.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. So what was shared today in the chat? Well, the word of the day was posted twice by the grammarian, and we had a short discussion about the right usage or the right pronunciation, or even the alphabetical items in that word. Jerry-rigged. I even heard Jimmy-rigged. All the best to you there, madam, for your husband. During this prepared speech, we were well behaved in the chat. There was only an invitation from Carol to Hetzi to sing to us. And guess what? It got chatty when the blessed soul tiger came on screen. And the word of the day kept popping up during that segment. And thankfully, the timer, thank you for that, Mr. Timer was proactive with sharing all the different speeches times in the chat. Now, one attendee, Dr. Michael Alexander, mentioned that he was the proud owner, or he is the proud owner of the domain leprechaun.com. He got the full support of Roger Fung and John Callahan. I was worried there, and I just checked that site, and guess what? That gentleman is actually a witness coach. So if you want, go to that site and get a witness coach. VP membership Elaine was ever active at recruiting, and he invited our guests to RSVP as soon as you can on our website. And guess what? As well, the club president is looking to get started on TikTok. I don't know why, but all the best there. Evaluator Jim Barber received a lot of congratulations for his evaluation. And what I learned today was Bones Day on the Moon Urushai Free. It's what you call a birthday in Star Wars. Star Wars Day, 4th of May, is celebrated today. We have to be careful, and thank you, Andrew Byrne, for that notification. We have to be careful about the invasion of monster hornets in some parts of the US. May Day is the first day of May. May is the French contraction of the phrase, help me, say med en français. And the 10th of May is Mother's Day. Please, please, please give flowers with petals, the plant ones, and not the baking flower to your moms. Thank you, and over to you, General Evaluator.
Well, thank you. I now call on the timer to give his reports.
I think we've given our reports along the way. People were on time.
Okay, thank you. Well, you may have to time me now, which should be, I believe, is around 2 to 3 minutes. I must say I enjoyed the meeting today, and especially with the table topics. I found everyone did quite well on the table topics. That you, at least you all, to me, it sounded that you all knew that what was coming, and it was just, at the top of your heads. I really found that was good. It was very interesting for me. And being the first time a general evaluator was a bit challenging for me too, because what I would do, I would go on our previous meetings and just look at 1 or 2 persons and try to, emulate them, but not only emulate, but to also, should I say, incorporate my style, because everybody's style is different. Mm-hmm. And how we pronounce our words and how we say things is different. So I'm glad for the opportunity to be the general evaluator today. Everything went quite well. The elections, I must say, congratulations to our new executive. I know you all have a heavy task ahead, and I know you all are quite capable of doing it. And thanks to even the outgoing people too as well. They did a marvelous job, and I know they're quick now to pass on the baton to the new players. Back to you, President.
Thank you, Antoinette. Wow, this was an amazing meeting, Hetzi. I loved your speech. Boy, I felt like such a slacker listening to you, though. I do have to say that. I'm trying to learn TikTok, and she's off doing, PhDs and everything else. But I gotta tell you, TikTok is kind of hard. Does anybody else do it here? Has anybody even looked at it? It is so much fun. It is just an uplifting thing. If you just want to smile for 5 minutes, don't spend longer than 5 minutes, because then you go down all these rabbit holes. But it's a lot of fun. I know we have a lot going on. Do we have a Toastmaster for tomorrow, John? For next week, John? I think we do. I think it's you, right? John, quick.
And let me double check.
And while we're doing that, we do have a special presentation on May 18th. Oh, actually, it's
Sarah.
Okay. And we have Carol Prensky, Antoinette Trim, and Emily Thompson all speaking next week. Yeah. And we are short 2 evaluators. If anybody wants to go online and sign up, we would very much appreciate it. On the 18th, I'm so excited about the 18th. This is something special that we're doing. First time ever, we are going to be having basically only icebreakers. So all the speeches are for our newer members that haven't given their icebreaker yet. And we're looking forward to that. We do need 2 more evaluators for that. David Carr, are you still here?
I am.
How are we doing with Roger? Did we get a date, Roger?
I do not.
Okay.
So
somewhere in June, we're hoping to have a date with Roger Cordell. And let's see.
is there any reason why it has to be June, or I mean, it might
Well,
wind up?
It's my end of the year. I'd like to have him in before the year goes.
Okay.
But if we
I'll
can't,
try.
then I'll just steal the accolades from next year. That's okay. But either way, I'd really like to make sure that we have Roger scheduled up one way or another. So anything else, John, that I'm missing?
No, I think our agendas look good. But for everyone, go ahead and look ahead at the next couple months on the website and start planning out your speeches for the rest of the Toastmasters year.
Thank you. Antoinette, I really enjoyed your evaluation of the meeting. I'm looking forward to all the new members that have joined, and we have some time to ask our guests, what did you think? So let's see if I can find some of our guests. Yes.
Just before you do, Madam President, there are 2 things I think that we should do before that, just to wrap up the meeting. One is that there hasn't been an official acknowledgement of the best table topic, which went to Andre. So well done.
Yes.
Yeah, Andre.
And the other is we haven't had the results of the election announced.
I thought Roger announced that. So if not,
no. He hasn't formally, I don't believe. I know I got an email, a message, but I don't believe he's actually announced the results because he was going off to talk to the secretary to confirm that we had the equivalent number of votes.
no, he did announce it, but we can announce it again.
Oh, maybe I'm wrong.
Not here.
Lois, do you want to stay on for another year?
I would do it, but Roger told me I'm not allowed. He said, nope, we need new blood. And I said, well, then go for Nick.
I'll give you a call every Sunday. You tell me what to do, okay?
Yeah, like you need that. You're too good for that. Okay.
Well, to put it on the record then, Madam President, I got a message from him to say, in case I get dropped off, the vote was confirmed. So congratulations to the new slate.
Thank you. We are very happy with our new slate. You guys will be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. Let's hear from some of our guests. Our winner of table topics, I know he's going to give me a review, so I'm with him first. Sanjay, how'd you like the meeting?
Well, first, I'm quite chuffed that I won the best table topics. As first time in the club, I almost stood up and I spoke whatever came into my mind. Oof, was sweating as well. I didn't realize I could win. So now I think I'm definitely joining the club. Oh, no. Thank you. I enjoyed the meeting. Thank you very much, Madam President.
Thank you. And I will not put it in your head that, yeah, we jury that. Bazinga. Okay. Yes, couldn't resist. Johnny Hill, how did you like the meeting?
I think you said Jeff. It sounded like Johnny, so I wasn't sure if that was me or not. But if it was, I will take this time. I absolutely enjoyed it. Man, it was different because there are so many different roles that you guys have with the online format. So that was definitely interesting to see, having the video, the watcher, the voters. So it was really cool to be able to take some of those ideas and incorporate them in different clubs I'm a part of. So I was glad that I got to see so many different variations of what you guys bring to the table. And I like the fact that there's so many different people from all walks of life. So it was a very refreshing meeting. I thank you guys for the time.
Thank you. Sarah, what did you think?
As always, I enjoy the meetings. I'm always just flabbergasted at how professional everything goes and how there's so much coordination, no lag between one person going to the other. So it's just a fantastic thing to watch and to be a part of. And I look forward to being a bigger part as time goes on. So I thought it was fantastic. I really enjoyed the table topics and the way Tiger had the scenes behind him with the photos. I thought that was really cool. And so it was great. Yes.
Well, we're glad you enjoyed. Liang, can I say your name right?
Hello everyone, I'm Liang T. Lee. I'm based in London. At the moment, it's my third time to visit this club. The first time was the contest, and the second time I was falling asleep because it was like 1 a.m. and 2 a.m. at London. And this time I'm happy. It's nearly 2 a.m. I'm still awake because I just delivered a table topic. So thanks for Table Topic Master to calling me up to the stage to make me awake at 2 a.m. Thank you very much.
I did not realize it was so late there. So yay, we're happy you're, and you look awake. Look at those eyes. They are so bright. Impressive, impressive. Cindy, what did you think about the meeting?
Hello, everybody. I think the meeting is very nice, and it's so interesting to see people from different part of the world, and we connect through the internet. And the way the club is organized is very efficient, and people gave a very nice presentation. It's a very nice experience. I hope I could build up my experience with the club and improve my skills.
Well,
Thanks
thank
for
you. We're
everybody.
very happy to have you. You know, one day I would really like to be able to see us take the different languages and the words that we use in one language versus the next and just do a comparison. I don't know if there's anybody that's versatile enough that could do that, but it would be really an interesting experiment, because I remember when I was in college hearing my professor saying that what we call railroad ties, and I forget what they call it in Australia. Graham, help me there. What do they call railroad ties?
Sleepers.
Sleepers, that's what it was. So there are all these different, so one day we should just have table topics on different use of words. Let's see, Dewey, what did you think about the meeting? Dewey Mager?
I want to say that this meeting is an exciting meeting. This is my third time to visit. I like the way you did your elections by discussing not only telling the rules and responsibilities of the member, but also having it up on a PowerPoint for everyone to read as well. That is a very helpful thing. I'm going to pass that on to members of my district to use as a best practice when it comes election time. That certainly takes a lot of the guesswork out for particularly new people who are stepping into Toastmasters who don't really know everything that's going on in the leadership areas. I like the themed table topics, very great questions. The one speech was good. One thing we do in one of our clubs is we have a person who's in the box, someone who's got a speech ready to go. So if someone doesn't show, they're up to speak and they already are ready and assigned. That helps to make sure that the speaking roles are all filled each week. We also teach people to have a speech in their back pocket, and quite often there will be 3 or 4 people ready to step forward. There was one week that, due to unforeseen circumstances, all 3 of our speakers could not make it at the last minute. We still had 3 speeches in our meeting because there were people ready.
Okay.
That's something that helps a lot of our clubs, because you only get 3 chances to give a speech at each meeting each week. And if we miss some of those, somebody's going to be a little bit slower getting one of their educational awards.
Okay, well, we thank you, Dewey, because we are now at 9 o'clock, so we have to keep these short. But I did want to hear from more Donna. Actually, Donna, you've been here. Beatrice, do you have connection? Can you tell us what you thought about the meeting?
I can hear you. I don't know if you can hear me better this time.
We can, but real quick, because we've got to wrap up. What did you think?
I enjoyed the meeting. It was definitely a different format. Jeff Hill and I in the same club, so we have a different format. I enjoyed the way you did it, and the different roles, like the vote counter, etc. and how the word of the day was used. I mean, you had used it in the table topics. I don't know if you vary it every time, but I think that was an innovative way to make sure everybody used the word of the day. Thank you for having me, and I enjoyed the meeting.
Great. Well, it is 9 o'clock. We are officially ending on time. David, you can stop the recording.